somewhere in your panel down below, you should see an icon that looks like an orange book with a blue pen on it. Click on that icon. That is iBooks Author. Now, iBooks Author comes with a number of pre-generated templates. And it's actually pretty limited. You can, if you own a Mac, go to the Apple Store and buy a suite of other templates to use too. They range anywhere from $9.99 to $19.99 to get a much wider range of templates that you can engage with. So I could, for example, start with the classic template. So when I double click on that, it presents me with the book title, which I showed you last week, intro media, a table of contents, glossary if I so choose, and these are all completely draggable, as well as editable when I'm in them. All right, so I could call this Two Naked Men. And the same way with a word processor, I can change the font. So I'll change it to Futura, for example. 86 is way too large. I'll try 48. There we go. Nixon and Ford. I could, if I do not like this particular image, delete it or drag and drop another image into it. That's the wonderful thing about this iBooks Author, is that it really makes things quite simple to engage. So I'll find one of the images I use all the time. Where is it here? Is it in Catalog Images? In Zara. I'll just grab one. I drag it in. Wham, there it is. If I don't like what I did, I can just Command Z it. Ideally, yeah. So in essence, that's my title page. Introductory media. This is one of the wonderful things about that I really enjoy about this program is the ability to use multimedia. So I could, with my even with my own iMac, I could do a little chapter introduction. And one of the things about, if you, particularly now with, if you took the museum education class, where we look at participation and this need for people to interact, this is still one way, but a museum project that would get a lot of people involved, with kids in particular, is that if they had access to iMacs, have them create their own little art books, which includes then having them talk a little bit about their book or talk about their family. This is a wonderful way to get families involved, because what families can actually do is they could talk about their family genealogy. If you want to get a family to a museum, have the family in the museum. Put a call out for family pictures and do an exhibition on family histories. People will turn out in droves to see pictures of themselves. What is the leading cause of car accidents right now? Even more than text messaging now, selfies. People taking pictures of themselves while they're driving. All right, now if you're doing this, that means that maybe only one hand might be on the wheel. If you're driving a standard, no hand is going to be on the wheel. Right? People are really narcissistic, if not about themselves, about their families and their friends. So if you want to get people engaged in your museum, have them start creating media for the museum. Because the children of today are unlike your children or you. Right? They are already cell phone babies. They're already Twittering, they're already Facebook, and they're already engaged in multimedia on the web. But what this allows you to do then is that you could create, if you're doing a textbook, for example, or a catalog, or an exhibition, you could, if you have a featured artist, have an actual movie interview of that artist and drag it right into the book. So, and then the pages that follow would be an artist's work and then the text description of it. So these are, once again, all of these text passages I can either edit on my own, or I could go and copy and paste text into it. And so it's all completely editable. So I have intro media where I can drag, I'll see if I can actually drag a movie in. I did it on my computer at home, but I forgot to bring the media files with me. So please bear with me for just a second. Wouldn't you know it? Okay, this one won't take the F4V movie, and I deleted the original. But you can drag the movie right in, and the different kinds of media that are available. By clicking on that, I could go to audio, photos, movies. Oh, maybe it'll drag that one in. Give me a second. But I'll be darned. And what it'll do, once you pop the movie in there, it will optimize it if it's the right codec to begin with, so that it will work with your catalog. So it looks like we've got Pat in the background and Sean D in the foreground. But I'm just going to stop that. I can add pages. So I have a chapter title and a brief chapter description, and then the actual chapter content. I can add pages. I can either add a new chapter, or I can add a preface. I can add a new section. And this is one of the things I really like about this particular program, is that if I put a section, for example, so I've got section 2, and if I want a section with just text, I could put section text right afterwards, which allows me to do much more elaborated. Whereas in the photo book, you couldn't decide as much text as you wanted. And this should be 3-column, and it didn't give me the 3-column. Page layout, 3-column. There's 2-column. Z. So all of these are drag and drop or click and edit. And once you add a section, it automatically does the table of contents for you too. So if I went back to Untitled, and I call it Party at Pat's, when I go back to the table of contents, it shows Party at Pat's. Can't remember how to spell margarita. It's been so long since I've had one. And I am by no means advocating, let's see, oh, that one doesn't have iBooks Author because, God, it's going to be that kind of day. Well, I'll let you use this one as soon as I'm done showing this. So these are all drag and droppable. You can add pages to your heart's delight, and then when you publish, once you've got your work done, you can publish to the iBooks store. And what it does when you put it to the iBooks store is that it makes it available for other people to buy the book. But you actually have to have a store account. Or I could create a sample. I think I can create a sample book. Hold on. I just crashed it. Yes?
If I were to create 5 of these iBooks and publish them, could I also put them on my CV and reference them as published works?
You would have to reference them as self-published works.
Does it still have the same value?
When it's self-published, because it has not been put through an editorial board, it's not seen as credible in academia anyway. I can also export, oh, I'm sorry, I went too fast. But if I have the book, I could go to File, Export, and then I can export it as either an iBook, as text, or a PDF. And I can even affect the quality of it. I can security encode it if I want. So if I have it available for people to purchase and they can't open it without the password, I could encode it with a password. So if I did security options to open the document, they might have to put party at Pat's to be able to print it. They might have to, and if they want to copy content, they'd have to know the same password. But I'm not going to do that. And then when I click next, it will take that. I'm just going to call it Pat's House. Save it to the desktop. Export. And there it is. So you do not necessarily have to go through the Apple bookstore. You can actually publish it on your own. And this is really cool if you've got if you're doing an exhibition and you want a catalog that you don't have to pay yourself to print. But you can have it so it's in a high quality PDF so people could purchase the PDF, for example, online. And one of the things now, in my generation, as I mentioned this before, you would have never thought people would be buying things on a cell phone. People buy art off a cell phone. I cannot believe that still, that people will buy art from a cell phone image. It just blows my mind. Because in my generation, you had to be right there to look at it. I mean, there is so much faith that's put into technology now. But people are reading books. I mean, as I mentioned, I've gotten to where I'm telling textbook publishers, unless you have an ebook, I will no longer use you. That's because it makes things so much readily available, and it's a lot easier carrying my whole library on my iPad than it is carrying my whole life. If you've walked into my office, you might have seen rows of books. It's a lot easier. So you've got another option that's free if you have a Mac and you use the iBooks author. So once again, it's another case where you pay for the hardware up front, but once you've got the hardware paid for, there's a lot of stuff that's available free, such as iBooks Author. I own no stock in iBooks Author, but it is my new friend.
Are you sure you don't get some kind of...
I get no kickbacks. Nope.